Oh, sorry. There we go. There we go. Slodgy, how are you? How are you? Bill, how are you? Welcome, everybody, to our analysis stream. For those of you who like to play chess, look at those stupid blogs. Hey, bro, cut out the AI. Alright, no blog mocking today. I have better things to do. So, let's see, learn. Let's do a puzzle. Get my brain tuned up. Oh my god, your turn. Find the best move for black. Oh my god. You want me to guess? I would say it's one of two moves with a pawn. But guessing isn't good enough. Pawn takes pawn allows king f3, and he can stop both pawns in that way. So I'm thinking it has to be d3. It makes sense sort of mathematically, right? d3. You can't get the king back in order to stop the pawn. But actually, you can. The problem with that theory, huh? d3, king f3. Pawn is farther away from his king. d3, king f3. There's a lot of cool ideas like d3, king f3, d2. I think it's gonna cut it. d3, king f3. d3, king f3, even rook b1 might win. So, rook takes a3, d2, game over. So I think it's d3. Move 11, eel even. Eel even. Even eels. Tricky D's. Blog mocking today. Bro, there's this guy, I mean, seriously. I don't know, he started posting on here. Some pseudo master. Anyway, every blog is the same, like, AI generated cover page. It's terrible. Dude, I found this cool thing. Let's guess. d3 now. Now, rook b1, according to my calculations, wins. That was my guess. But, we don't need two winning moves. All we need is one. And then there was one. Rook b1. Move e11. I found this cool book. I'll show you guys. Ah, got it. Nailed it. 25.72. That's why I make the big bucks. So, yeah, I haven't done a rated puzzle in a long time. That was some heavy rating points incoming there. I found this. Look at this. This is crazy. I have this little Russian. You can't really tell it's Russian, obviously. If you open it up, it's like a Russian, an old Russian scorebook. Can't see shit. But anyway, I found games. I had used this to record games from 1995 in it. My handwriting is atrocious. Even when small, it's atrocious. It's atrocious. It was like atrocious. I have real serious games in here. 1995, FIDE Master. When I won the U.S. Class Championship, the only national tournament I ever won. Here's Sam Palatnik. First game. When I played Palatnik twice in the same tournament. That's the loss. When I was... And actually, I was really kind of drunk during this game. My handwriting isn't so bad. You wouldn't think that was like a drunk person's handwriting. I've been sitting at the bar drinking whiskey or something. Doesn't look bad. Fairly neat for a drunk guy. I lost in like 17 moves in a King's Indian. But anyway, I'm going to go through some of those. Some games that have been one day. Maybe not today. Did you what now? That was the funny tournament where they had just invented like re-entry. It was 1995, and it was like a national tournament, but it had it under there. They didn't really attract a lot of players to a very obscure location, which was Syracuse, New York. So the field was small, and not enough people came, and oddly, even though I was like a senior master, 2400 USCF FIDE master, I was paired with Palatnik in the first round, who was a decent grandmaster at that time. And I was drinking whiskey at the bar in this hotel, thinking I was going to play like a 2000 player in the first round. It happened to me twice. I also lost that way. Well, the second time with the Copian, I wasn't stupid enough to drink too much, but never assume you're going to play like a weak player in the first round of a Swiss, because sometimes weird stuff happens, like me getting paired with a Copian. And this other tournament, there's like these weird Swisses where sometimes only like 15 people show up, and somehow you magically don't make the cut. It was like there was only like 10 players in the open section, or I don't know, and I was like number 6. It was ridiculous, or I don't know. Anyway, I ended up winning the tournament. Like, it was a funny event. I win the tournament, and the only time in my life I won a U.S. national title, co-champion of official national tournament, co-champion U.S. Class Championship, 1995, losing to Palatnik in the first round, re-entering, scoring 4 out of 5 on my second entry, while playing Palatnik again, and it's in here in the book. I drew him in the same opening that we played from the first one. And that was a close call too. I almost lost. I was this close to losing, but Josh Waitskin gave me like secret mental telepathic cues to save the king and pawn game. And wow, what an adventure. That was 30 years ago. My God, how time flies, guys. Well, one whiskey was okay. I had like 4 whiskeys or 5 whiskeys. I was like, whatever, I'm playing in 2000, it doesn't matter. I was really drinking a lot at that time because I was in college, and I was in training, you know. We were in training. So, alright, anyway, a little bit of a blast from the past there. Nice to see Move 11 come back. The Champions League. Anyone? I went out on the street today. I was like, why the fuck? I'm like a grumpy old man. Why the fuck are there so many fucking people in Budapest? My fucking neighborhood. Why are there so many people on the street? I went out to like buy the stuff. I had to buy stuff. I'm like the grumpy old man. Why are there so many people on the street? Arrgh! And then it like dawned on me. I was like, holy shit. The Champions League. Bro, the Champions League is on Saturday. I was like, what the fuck, man? Why are there so many people on the street? Ding, ding, ding. Oh my God, there's Champions League final at Puskás Stadion, and it's not that far from my house. Paris Saint-Germain against Arsenal. We have a French supporter in the. I feel like I have to support the France team because we're part of Europe. You guys did Brexit. I'm sorry, Arsenal fan. I can't support Brexit. I was. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. It's like that fake golf league. Oil money. That's true. So, Paris Saint-Germain against Arsenal fan. Here in Budapest. I don't know how that deal got negotiated. Probably a long time ago. But, anyway. So that's... I don't know, man. I mean, with all those Arsenal fans on the street Saturday night, I'm afraid to go out. I'm kind of afraid to go out for my poker. I know it's going to happen coming home from poker. I'm going to get like assaulted by. I'm going to get assaulted at 4 o'clock in the morning by like angry Arsenal fans. Something, dude. I'm going to need help. Maybe I should just stay home. Or maybe, I should wait and see what happens. Dude, I think the Frenchies are going to be way more like, maybe I should root for Arsenal to win. I don't know. Are you guys, they're going to be worse if they win or if they lose? That's another question. Are the Arsenal fans going to be worse behaved after they win or after they lose? I don't know. They're bad either way. All right, guys. Anyway, so a lot of interesting stuff going on. Champions League final. What's up? So we got Move 11 here. No game analysis because he doesn't play chess anymore, but that's fine. He's here to watch, support the stream. Guys, don't forget to donate. We're up to $351. 3 days to go. 3 days to go for our summer tournament fund. That was a real... Yeah, that was before Trump launched his war on Iran or whatever. I think I created the summer tournament fund. Yeah, I don't think that's happening. We're a little short on funds, so nobody's donating. We've got a few subscribers, luckily, to stay alive. I started to have to play poker. Now I have to play poker twice a week. I was never a cash game player, but I'm gonna have to adapt and become like a poker cash game player. So we're gonna split my work between playing cash poker and being with you guys. And doing lessons. I still do chess lessons, obviously. So what else? Conics. Hey, do you have enough games for tonight? I could use another game, Conics. I can use another game. Thanks for being a subscriber, absolutely. So, bring me the game. Give me the game. Absolutely, great to see you back. Speaking of poker. By the way, I never played poker on my phone. Because I'm, technologically retarded. And I didn't play online poker for 10 years. But today I won my first online poker tournament on my phone. I was just really proud of myself. I won a poker tournament on my phone. It was a stupid spin and go, but just I'm advancing technologically. Spin and goes are stupid. That's the stupidest thing that happened to online poker, in my opinion. But anyway, it's like everything else: fast food, colon cancer. The world is going to shit. Alright. But, I'm just getting my coffee in, and yes, we need your game. A musician that I liked posted today a GoFundMe because he got colon cancer. It's horrible. The guy was really probably unhealthy all his life, but anyway, it's just sad. Alright, what else? Acerbate, I think, is alive. Guys, this is really weird. I mentioned it on last night's stream. It seems like he's alive. The registry of offenders in Nevada has a new photo of Acerbate, and he looks okay. So I don't understand. He's not dead. He just stopped coming to the stream, stopped using the internet altogether. The offenders registry. But no, it's good that he's alive. I feel a little bit better thinking that poor Acerbate is he was like a puppy dog that used to come to the stream. 8 years. It was really sad. Today on Discord, I had a reminder that Acerbate was my friend on Discord for 8 years, and I felt so bad, The politically accepted term is technologically challenged. That's me. Uh, yeah, don't know how to make AI videos like the dudes in Lichess blog posts. Just kidding. I know how to make AI videos. Caroconics TV. Okay, here we go. We're gonna put that game in there, and then so I like jumping around from subject to subject. First, we talk about Champions League, then poker, then Astrobate still being alive. I think he has to be alive. I mean, there is a photo on the internet that's dated May 13th. And he told me back in February that he has to go in because he was formerly incarcerated for something that happened back in the 80s, literally. This is something happened back in the 80s. He still has to go in. He still has to be like registered, have his photo taken, and not my business. But he told me he was open. He said, "Look, every 15th of the month, I have to go in every 3 months to get my photo taken." And I had checked a week ago, there was nothing there, and now there's a photo from May 13th, and he looks normal. It was funny because the last one was like horrible. The one from February. Where Aspate was photoed was like terrible. He looked like a homeless guy, and I had been still talking to him back in February. Ironically, the new one from May looks like totally normal. So anyway, we miss him, and I hope he's all right wherever he is. Can it be like you just like not have an Apple iPad anymore, and you just stop coming to stream after coming to my stream for 9 years religiously? You just one day can't come anymore, and that's okay. You just never come back. Like, that's pretty weird, He didn't look homeless. He didn't look sick, and is it possible he just doesn't have internet access? Seriously? No computer, no money for a computer, or tablet, or whatever? Is that really possible? Yeah, I guess it's possible. Weird. You think he'd make an effort to just send me an email like I'm still alive, right? Isn't that weird? Alright. So anyway, study here. My studies. I can't register it, But anyway. Just better to know he's not dead. So I'm going to start with Miro on the edge, Arsenal fan. Then we have Arsenal fan versus Martin Simmons. Then we have Pili M on the French side against Sun Prism. That's perfect for the, France, England, Arsenal, Paris, Saint-Germain matchup coming up Saturday night. And then, so poker, Caroconics, that's your new name, as semi chapter number 4. And Dr. Chis is back because the internet was turned back on in Iran. You've gone into some AI courses. Yeah? So, I'm just kidding. Alright. Yeah. You know those people, though, that they, like, they make every blog with AI, and you can tell, and it's, like, gross. Alright, next. TV. Let's talk about TV. I just watched the first episode of, the maker of Stranger Things has a new series called The Burrows. The first episode was shaky. It's about this, like, retirement home. I'm not going to do any spoilers, but I don't think it's going to rival. I don't think it's going to be as good as Stranger Things. Alright, next subject we're going to start. Alright, we got 4 games so far. Maybe if we can look at my little red book. Sorry, Arsenal fan. This is not. There are no women's names in here. My little red book. That's a little black book. I don't know if I can read these moves. See, I was like, oh, I'll put in a game. Here, I have a game, a 10-move draw with Mikhail Zlotnick. Round 4 of the U.S. class. That I didn't recall. It was round 4. So round 4 was a draw. Round 5 was a win. I remember the win. I just don't recall the draw. I was white against Mikhail Zlotnik. Palatnik draw. It was like 40 moves. What? Holy shit. What? Oh, there's another guy. That's funny. I played a guy, Mikhail Zlotnikov, and then in the same tournament I played Mikhail Zlotnik. That's confusing. That would confuse anybody, right? Yeah. I lost to Palatnik, re-entered. I drew Ron Burnett. He sacked the exchange. I beat Mikhail Zlotnikov, right? Then I drew Palatnik. I drew Mikhail Zlotnik, and then I beat Nelson Castaneda. And tied for first. Alright. That's 31 years ago today. No, 31 years ago. It was right around this time of year, too. It was probably around May. You learned advanced... Oh, you're talking Dr. Chance. Alright, do I have another message? Pilly. Now I should be thanking you. You should be thanking me. But thank you guys for being part of my stream. Our community is shrunk, and Astrobait not being here doesn't help. Because Astrobait would come into the stream, he would prime the pump, he would put in quotes, he would talk. He was like a greeter. He was like a greeter for Walmart for my stream. You know, now we need like an Astrobait bot or something in his honor. Since he can't be here. We need someone to design an Astrobait bot. An Astrobot. Welcome to Costco. We love you. Seriously, we need an Astrobait bot, an Astrobot, to be a replacement Astrobait till he gets out of jail or wherever the fuck he is. I thought maybe he got picked up and put in like a mental hospital or something. Alright, here we go. We're starting. Enough banter. Alright, so this is Miro on the Edge's game. Now, I don't understand. Did you guys play some... You guys played some private games? Arsenal fan, this is a game you lost against Miro on the Edge. I don't know the context of this game. It was 3-0. You played 100 Blitz games. Oh my god. Alright, anyway. So... But Arsenal's a huge favorite. You know, he's like 400 points higher than Miro on the Edge. So that makes you a huge statistical favorite. You know, you're like a 6-1 favorite. I'm guessing. It's like... He is underrated. But then we could say you're underrated. Alright. I mean, you should be 22.68. That's like Larry C. Used to steal all people's reading points and then make them like... He would like play them till he got them down to like 22.99 and be like, yeah, you're underrated. He would send them a personal message like, oh man, you're underrated. You should be like 23.01. After he beat them down from like 2,500 to 22.99, he would then send them a message to tell them that they are underrated. They should be like 23.01. Yeah. I like that. Alright. The long sessions. I used to love playing like sessions with people. Yeah, I haven't done that in years. E4, C5, knight f3, d6, d4, cd4, boop, boop. Knight f6, here's my opening explorer. Knight c3, a6, the Najdorf. Now maybe Miro on the Edge, you know, he likes theory more than Arsenal fan. Which can be an advantage, but it can also be a disadvantage if you don't have the skills to play the positions that, you know, sharp positions you get. F3. That looks familiar. You played that against me, right? I played E5. Other options for black include H5, Knight C6, which transposes... I can play Knight C6. It transposes to my classical F3 line. E6 is an English attack. I don't think that's bad, but it's also not black's best option. Well, that's the thing. Yeah, Dr. Chip Chance, you're transposing to an English attack. I mean, it's better for white. It's very sharp if both sides know the theory, but should be better for white. E5, more space, safer. And G6 is like a dragon dwarf. There's queen b6. We mentioned this, okay, last week, 2 weeks ago. So Lincic played that years ago. No, I'm thinking of different line. My bad. So I saw that. Yeah, no. There was a game that Varga had with Lincic in a tournament I played. I feel like at 3 a6, c4 queen b6, but that's different. a6 knight c3. How would this go? Yeah, I can't remember. It doesn't matter. Different line. a6 f3, e5, knight b3. So bishop b6. Here I mean, the logical thing to do is like h5. I mean, it's risky because it's not exactly the most flexible move, but it's the modern way to play against these setups with f3. And the thing is, I was wondering with black if one should wait until white puts the bishop on e3, kind of like, not enabling him to do like bishop g5 in one go. No, it's old school Najdorf, of course. Old school Najdorf, don't play h5. Chess is still in a transitional phase. Openings are still being generated by computers. So bishop e6, the most common move here. I don't know why h5 is bad per se. It is played in many less games. I thought we might have addressed this a little bit last week. If h5, bishop g5 can be played in one move. I'm not sure that's a problem necessarily. No, I think we talked about this. Some sort of like bishop e2s. Maybe white can change plans if you commit to h5 too early. Admittedly, it's very committal. b5 isn't good. I don't think b5 is good because of a4. So that's pretty much it. Bishop e6 or bishop e7? I mean, is there anything wrong with bishop e7? Well, one thing, and it's a very small thing, but a kind of deep thought, did somebody mention it? No. I need my glasses. If somebody, in some lines you actually can play like g6 and bishop h6. In these structures where white goes knight d5, black takes, and it happens sometimes where you can go bishop h6, but also you could go bishop e7, bishop g5. So, I'm just trying to understand really what the deal is with bishop e6 versus bishop e7. Not being an expert. If I was an expert on a Najdorf, I would know exactly what to tell everybody. But we look at the statistics. Bishop e6 is much more common. The real thing is like why? You don't necessarily want to commit to castling king's side. So bishop e6 is more flexible in that sense. And now bishop e3. This move is played almost universally. And now black plays h5 most of the time. That's something we talked about last week. The thing is that all of these games are like whatever. Like, by the way, how are correspondence games actually played nowadays? Mr. Coffee, you have an answer for us? What's up? How are the 10,000 games here after h5? I mean, the truth is, like 10 years ago, there probably were only like 1,000. Are correspondence games actually played like online now by email or something? You don't have to put like a postage stamp on an actual letter and send it in the mail? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I never played correspondence chess. It's like, but dude, those games they're all correspondence chess. They're all computer games. I mean, they use the ICCF server. Okay, so these are like 81% computer games. But Arsenal didn't play H5, which is the easiest move to play. You know, it's like you guarantee there's no G4 for a long time. So Ars played knight on BD7, and this move is the third most common. The second most common is bishop E7. But I don't know. You know, I mean, knight on BD7, I think it looks good. I don't see any reason why this isn't good. You got a quick rook C8 option. Good old sack the exchange on C3. If white tries to play sharply. Move 11 actually was here earlier and left. But he is the one person who should stay with us because he actually knows a little bit about these lines. And I don't know if he left us. He just comes in and then leaves. Guys, please donate, support the stream. 3 days left for the summer tournament fund. At this rate, I'll be able to play a rapid tournament on the other side of the city. It'll pay for my bus ticket. But don't forget to subscribe and donate. Mr. Coffee back. Last time anyone donated. Guys, we have Bogachuk down to very low hit points. If anybody wants to be the new supporter, the new stream boss. Yeah, it's nice to see Dr. Chipchan's back. He's replaced Asterbait. Queen D2. So G4 is number one move. Queen D2. The knight D5 doesn't do it for me. Like, that just plays right into bishop takes D5. I thought. But in this particular case, they actually prefer knight takes D5. If knight takes D5, pawn takes D5, the bishop has to go to F5. Every one of these positions is different. I always had the feeling like, this is good for white to trade off my bad bishop. But apparently, I talked about this exact position, I think, with move 11. There's, you see, this Lucan Gelfand game I analyzed for chess lecture. Maybe I didn't do a video on it. Maybe I didn't do it for... I take it back then. I didn't do it for chess lecture. I just did it for my students. I analyzed the Lucan Gelfand game as an example game. A model game for black. Anyways, it's a tough call. These are very different if you take with the bishop or take with the knight. Can white circle the knight into E4? Yeah. Right? Yeah. I mean, that's the plan. Definitely. This is something that might happen. Circle the wagons. But, my preference is usually to take with the bishop. White. See, there's this idea of G6. You could play to control F5 and play H5, bishop H6 maybe. Black has 3 out of 4 in this position. Anyway, I don't think knight D5 is very good. I just want to... It's a question of timing, largely. It would be different if, you've played B5 or something and the C6 square is weak. G4 is the number one move. Okay, that's very sharp. White played this. Now black number one move appears to be B5, which looks dangerous. It looks dangerous. I mean, anytime you play B5, and here white hasn't even tasseled yet. What? For a yank to use the word mate. It's corny. The Aussies love it. Well, everybody thinks you're gay in the States. I guess, I don't know. It's just corny. People just look at you funny. Alright. Alright, I'm here for the masculinity videos. Queen d2, b5 is number one move. I agree not to play b5. Arsenal went for b5. Yeah, I prefer the h5. That's my personal best. Other moves, though. There's rook c8. You know, I imagine this is a move. Almashi Wojciech, 1998. That's not a recent game. Dorian Ribley, 1979. Also not a recent game. So, and there's also, of course, Queen c7. Doesn't look great statistically. b5 is main line. But my fear is this a4. Since White isn't fully committed to castling queenside, what's the deal with the a4? There must be some resource here for black. You don't dare speak it out loud. Not at an NFL game. Not at a UFC. Do you see that? They're constructing UFC arena at the White House, outside the White House. What an abomination, dude. What a shit show. Anyway, so if a4, I'm curious what happens. This move is apparently not considered dangerous, and this has been known to pop up as early as 2000. So the reason why it's not dangerous, let's see. b4, knight d5, bishop takes d5, pawn takes d5, and then the old knight b6. Okay. The old knight b6, and you know, White can sack this pawn in a lot of cases on d5. We talked about this last week. e4 playable. Well, yeah, I mean, it's an idea that popped up in last week's analysis. But the issue here is, I guess this is hanging. So black has to act. Well, no, okay, you have knight takes d5. e4, it's development. You know, developmentally very slow to play e4. But the idea is important, Arsenal fan. But this is the move that most players play, knight b6 attacking the pawn. And if White has to trade here, then White, you know, White kind of like transfers the game into... Well, let's put it this way. I feel much safer now with black. Like, you're not going to checkmate me. So basically this is the point. If White has to play that, he doesn't have much. So a4 is not a big deal. White played g4. And this is much more traditional looking. Right. Why commit to knight d5? Why commit to anything? Why commit to queenside castling? g4 looks very flexible. Well, I mean, okay. Is g5 a threat? Because it looks like, yeah, you go to h5. You're not going to e8. You're going to h5 if g5. Is that a big threat? Not necessarily. I mean, it can be a positional threat. You know, g5 drives your knight away from controlling d5 temporarily. So, the most common move here is knight to b6. It's understandable Arsenal fans' reaction. The ominous monkey. Speaking of the ominous monkey, I saw this like random wildlife video today on my Facebook feed, which I really hate Facebook, but it's the only social media I even touch at all. I just rarely look at it. But there's these animal videos I sometimes like if they're like legit, not like they're like from legit, let's say, what's the word I'm looking for? Videos from like legit rescue, animal rescue, or legit things, not just like random people. Anyway, wildlife conservatories, anything like that. Well, there was this funny video of these monkeys in the wild in some conservation place, and there are these turtles that the little turtles, like smallish turtles, and the turtles like the sun, and they go in the beach and they sit on the hot sand in the sun, like baking in the sun, enjoying the hot weather. So monkeys are really mean. There's this one monkey that's really mean. He takes the turtle and it's enjoying basking in the sun, and he throws it in the water. We wonder where we get like where do people get this like horrible, mean, why are people mean? Well, it's like monkeys are throwing turtles in the water, What the fuck? All right. H6. Just for fun, Neanderthal interbreeding is one of the theories to psychopathic behavior. Sociopaths. H6. So, okay, you stopped it temporarily. Castle's queenside. So H4 isn't a threat. So H6 seems like a good deal. You're not facing an immediate G5. White needs a number of preparatory moves to enact G5. He needs to play like H4 plus at least another move like Bishop H3 in order to even get in H4 and G5. White castles queenside. Now Arsenal played Rook C8. And that move's been played only a handful of games. Almost everyone plays Knight B6 now for black. Knight B6, Naka or somebody who played the Sicilian a lot, Neidorf a lot, might know this. Knight B6, it feels like moving the same piece twice. Rook C8, which Arsenal fan played, is more in tune with, being time. Getting new pieces, time oriented, getting new pieces in the game. Queen C7 is similar to Rook C8, but you like the rook. Maybe exchange sacks here sometimes to get in D5. Knight B6, you know what? Bishop H3 is a cool idea for white, I agree. Well, like H4, Bishop H3. Yeah, but that bishop's also a defender of C4, right? It's not so simple to just play Bishop H3. That's maybe not going to happen. But another thing with Knight B6, it has a number of ideas. You support D5. You can go to A4 sometimes. That's a very annoying move. Not just Knight C4, but Knight A4 oftentimes is a dangerous move because taking is like opening up the B file. So Arsenal played Rook C8. Damn, this is old school. 1980. Cheshkovsky versus Jaime Suña Neto from Brazil, I believe. I think he's still with us. An older GM. Jaime. So, alright. 1980. Before I even really picked up a chess piece. Well before. King B1. Now, main move. Knight B6. And now, theoretical novelty. Yeah, this is kind of a weird move. Right? White's next move. Black has everything pointed at d5. By the way, this is a 3-0 game. These guys rattled off the moves in like no time at all. 17 seconds. I mean, the lazy thing to do here is play bishop takes b6. But then it's like you just sold your best piece for what, right? I'm not sure g4 and bishop takes b6 makes a lot of sense. The thing is that guardian of c4, right? You know, if he's going to play knight c4, you want to hack it off, and you take with that bishop on f1. So it doesn't make tons of sense to play bishop e2 if you're just going to have to turn around and hack it off next move. So that's why, well, there are no games here with the move bishop e2 because it's a tempo loss at best. Best case scenario. Now, White's theory here is that it doesn't matter. He's just connecting his rooks so he can continue the plan. So tempo loss or not, it connects his rooks, which makes h4, like, you know, I guess possible. But, yeah. Apparently there's a better move. Queen f2. And obviously, you know, good luck with this because of bishop takes b6. This happened in 2 games? Oh my god. Dude, crazy. That's Correspondenceville. Oh my god. Queen f2, rook takes c3, bishop takes b6, rook takes f3. Welcome to Correspondenceville. Interesting. Wow. If that works. Damn, it works. It works. Bro. It works. So this line is not an issue, apparently. White's line isn't good enough. So queen f2 is not good enough. h4 can be played. h4 makes sense. You know, you stay on the exchange sack here. You're waiting for bishop takes c4. But what's going to happen if black doesn't like the, you know, the knight a4 type thing? I guess you have takes on knight a5. Gotta watch that knight a5. Also, another reason to keep the queen on d2. It looks like queen f2 is playable, but, you know, it's also not optimal. So what is White's best move according to the Oracle? Oh, shit. h4 is good, but also possible is knight a5. Theoretical novelty. It looks scary to stick it out there undefended, but you either got something or you don't. And if I go knight c4, which way does White recapture? Capture. Either way is good. That's not a problem. So knight a5 is a really interesting novelty. h4 is a good move. And you played bishop e2, which is slow. Can black play knight d7 after knight a5? Play anything you want, my friend. You can play anything you want. No, there's knight b7. Isn't this, like, strong? You have an idea. I don't think so. I don't think even Arsenal's going to make this work. Right. So it threatens knight b7. You could play queen c7. No? But there's possible sacks on b5. That's looking scary. That looks scary. Like that. I don't know if it's enough. But anyway, okay, knight a5 is an interesting move. Let's just for a second. Yeah, knight a5, b4, of course, is possible. But let's for a second just check the Lead Chess database. Knight a5 played 78 times. So my deleted account, that's great. Miss Blunderful. All of these are like disposable accounts. My deleted account. Three out of 10 of them are like engines. Yeah, and it's funny though. 30 players here with black played knight c4, which is like the worst move ever. The first move I suggested. It's the worst move ever. b4. White needs to come up with a good move here after b4. Knight b7. Only one guy found it. Jesus. Look at this game from 2 years ago. And black didn't find a response. Wow. Black has only one good move here. This is crazy. Who would have thought this is like so narrow path that can be played? Only queen d7. That's insane. Only queen d7. Queen d7, knight d6 check. Bishop takes d6. Queen takes d6. And now b takes c. And now bishop takes b6, which is not attacking a queen, which is not on c7. C takes b2. And a very, very narrow path. So anyway, this is fascinating stuff. Alright, so knight a5 is a really interesting move. h4 is a bit more natural. Bishop e2 is a mistake, but playable. Now black has b4. Didn't do it. You didn't do it. Well, his knight doesn't have any place to go other than d5. I'm not going to analyze everything because we're already spending a lot of time on one game, but, you know, obviously there's tons of interesting lines here. Just want to kind of keep it under a limit. b4. Obviously, white can play bishop takes b6 is not great. So here, right, presumably knight d5. So what's going on? Is this good for white or good for black or what? We're just going to take. We take with the knight, but a6 is hanging, so I mean maybe this is a little bit interesting. So the best line is knight on b takes d5, e takes d5, knight takes d5, and then bishop takes a6, which could be backfiring for white. Very sharp. It's very sharp, but the other move, just an unbelievable move. Look at this. Raise your hand if you would have found this move. Yeah, f4. I'm not raising my hand. I'm a godforsaken materialist. I had the training game with move 11 in a line similar to this, and I wish he was here again, because I hit him with some kind of knight c3, bro. I mean, I sacked a piece against him in this type of scenario where that sort of thing can be, this can be very, very dangerous. You know, this particular position, it doesn't work. Here white comes back with the queen defending. Nothing special there. Just mentioning that idea though. Anyways, so you didn't do b4. Arsenal plays knight c4. It's not as good. So now, you know, white loses his tempo or whatever. And now you have a choice. You take with the bishop, take with the pawn. Or take with the rook, but yeah, okay. Even take with the rook. The rook could get attacked by knight a5 or knight d2. The pawn takes, it takes away your open c file, but then you switch to an open b file. Bishop takes looks like the more natural move. The computer likes b takes. So it's forcing, yeah, there's no knight a5. Then I just go back to c1. But that's it, though. Once you do this, right, what's black's plan? Because you've got this kind of Karpov-ish sort of formation where I move the king to a1 and play like a dragon, and then does black have a break or not? The structure becomes very fixed after that. If White had all the time in the world, he's gonna checkmate your ass with like knight g3, h4, g5, bye-bye. But the thing is, the b file could be something. You have queen a5, and you have rook b8, but I don't know if it's enough. It's not an easy call. And I think this move is just like a routine move. You played rook takes, and as he said, obviously this can be attacked. You know, the rook can be attacked by something. At some point, White plays h4, and now Arsenal, you know, retreated his knight. But what about b4? Now I have a4. Shit. So knight a4, I mean, we have to look at it. Let's say, threatening this, knight d7, that type of thing. Well, now there's no way to attack the knight on a4, so that's not good. It looks problematic. This looks very problematic. So b4 is no good. The engine actually likes, what is it? It likes something about this. The analysis bot says White should play knight d5. But wait, what's wrong with knight a4? I thought it looked pretty good. It is good. So you're telling me that knight d5 is also good? Wow. Knight d5 is even better than knight a4. Then black's really fucked, you know. Alright. So you played h4, he played knight d7 unprovoked, and then White played knight d5 unprovoked. So your position is so good you can just play this. I mean, you know, it comes down to knight c4, rook takes c4. Black made 2 inaccuracies. Very small inaccuracies. And now bishop takes d5, which black doesn't really want to do. Black doesn't really want to do this. That is a strong piece. The bishop on e6 is... It's stronger than a knight in theory. So we end up in a situation where black is worse. Kind of in a classical Najdorf way. And I was not expecting White to take back with the pawn. And I might be wrong. I was talking about this with one of my students today. And it's also applicable to poker, but people tend to play too much for they swing for the fences, you know, baseball. I don't like to swing for the fences. You know, chip away, accumulate little advantages. I mean, this looks like a very safe way, very classic. Pressure on d6. Am I missing something here? So, is the point that White really doesn't have enough here? I think it looks pleasant, but maybe my analysis of this position is too superficial. So, is it seriously not enough? Not good enough? For you, queen takes d5. So you go with this surprising move, in my opinion. Pawn takes. You serious? Knight f6? Knight f6 and d5? I don't know where the queen should go. You mentioned d3. It also can go to b7. don't know if you can get away with this. You know, this looks too much. For starter, your knight is on d5. Say what? True chance, what are you talking about? So anyway, pawn takes. White thinks he's going to do a kingside attack. Okay. Black's still not castled. It's not that easy. Arsenal plays knight d7. Do you have to play... I'm sorry, b6. Why do we have to play knight b6? Now white has this killer, right? The old knight a5, knight c6 threat, which I really don't like. That's one advantage of taking with the pawn on d5. Okay. Arsenal has e4, you know, in the position, which may not be good, but it might be good in some moment. Black's still underdeveloped. Bishop e7 is what I would expect. Development. But yeah, it's looking bad. I mean, you might have to play knight b8, to be honest. Oh, that's hanging a rook. Yeah, this looks bad. Knight a5, rook c7, knight c6. Okay, bishop b7's out. I agree. Rook a4, anyone? I don't think I've ever seen that happen. Wow. You don't think you understand rook a4? Yeah, I understand rook a4. I've never seen it happen in an English attack Najdorf, but it's like the only move that stops knight a5. It's simply the only move that stops knight a5. Because knight a5 is going to fuck you every time. And this move just stops it. It's a weird move. I mean, you know, it's not about attacking anything. But it's ironic because it's like hard to actually attack the rook on a4 for white. And it stays very active here on the 4th rank. So this is, yeah, that's a great move. I would continue to say that I still would argue for queen takes d5. And we're playing for a win with no risk. Why do we have to be a caveman? No, rook a4 is an exceptional move. You have to see the threat, though. I didn't see it. I found it on my own. But, I didn't know if it was good or not. Now I feel better. So anyway, Arsenal played knight b6, allowing knight a5, and you missed it. How many chances are you going to get to play knight a5? Queen f2. Okay, it's a blitz game. Now knight a4. That's a knight, not a rook. But now a5 is not contested. Knight goes the other way. Yeah, but I mean, okay. Rook b4, anybody? He did it. Acerbate approved. The forward rook maneuver. It is awkward. It's also handily met by knight e4, which white intended to play anyway. Why can't you play knight e4? White looks clearly better here. Oh shit. You have rook takes b2? Oh, alright. My bad. Yeah, that's why. Anything takes b2. Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry, my airball. I airballed it. Forgot. It's very deep. Yeah, b3. I don't like to play b3, but it's probably necessary. Oh, apparently it's not good. Wow. b3. You mean blundering this check isn't good? Damn. You can't blame him for not wanting to play knight b3. The knight just came from there. That's awkward. So you should play b3. No, you did play b3. Knight c3 check. King b2. You sack the exchange. Wow. Super knight. And the rook on b4 is trapped. So black's going to have to lose a whole rook. No, you always have rook d4. No, c3, you have rook f4. So you can always give up the exchange, right? You can always sack the exchange here. So Arsenal should just develop. Arsenal played a ridiculous move now. Arsenal, what are you, like, on the verge of winning on time or something? This is where I would 100% want to play bishop e7. I mean, develop my pieces. You know, obviously you're going to give up the exchange. However, he wants to do this. We're going to f4, and that's it. It's a game, but yeah. So I don't know what came over Arsenal fan. This looks like a mouse slip. Insane panic. He was possessed by an evil spirit. Paris Saint-Germain got to him. It was clearance. I mean, I assume you're supporting f4. I mean, to develop. Oh, shit. That guy. Oh, it was an attacking move. Didn't even notice. But, you know, why g5? You could have gone g6. It's so much more subtle. It looks like you're playing for f5. This is way more subtle. Come on, just play g6. You mouse slip g5. You meant to play g6. Oh, it's hope chess. You're hoping for h takes g, so your rook opens up on the file. You're a good blitz player, but yeah, you're not thinking strategically as you are tactically. In such a short time control, come on. We can't take time for theory here. We're analyzing a 3-minute game like it's a 3 hours game. But he doesn't need g5 to play rook f4 anyway. Alright, so g5 is a mistake. It's not necessary. And it makes black bad positionally. This is a very natural move. Apparently c3. Well, the difference is major. If you play c3 or a3, he has to sack the rook for the bishop, and you keep the knight. When you go knight e4, he's going to be able to sack his rook for the knight. They're very different positions, obviously. But the classic Najdorf scenario, or King's Indian, or Sveshnikov, or whatever, is like great knight against bad bishop, hopefully. So, black goes bishop g7 now. But I think that plan has seen better days. You know, Arsenal fan, only, you know, oddly enough, well, this wouldn't have happened if you had played g6. He probably wouldn't have played knight e4. Because just imagine, had you played g6, keeping control of f5, and looking like you're thinking about f5, he's not going to be as inclined to do this, because this is obviously a possibility. Not to say it's simple, you know, I mean, it can take, and I don't know what's going on. This actually looks okay for black, oddly enough. You have like forks and stuff. So there's another reason why f5 is way more g6 is way more flexible. This is bad. You know, sacking the exchange back isn't anything great, but you could try it. What if you tried it? What if you took it and just took this and held on to it like, give me that? What if you just kept this as like a, okay, it's not great, but I mean, the point is, like, you can sit there and hang on to your pawn and be like, hey, I have an extra pass pawn. Or if rook f1, black has, well, defenses. You do have more pawns than white, theoretically. I'm not sure that rook h7 is great. Maybe a different move. But anyway, it's possible. There's a great game, guys. This was a great game for a blitz game. How often do we have such a good game in a 3-0 game that's submitted to the stream? So, You could also just take first on h4 and see what happens. You don't have to sack the rook right away. Computer wants to take on h4. This is not guaranteed to happen. But now h takes g5. And then Arsenal, you know, again, with a surprising move. Is rook takes e4 too late, though? Yeah. So this is too late, I think, because of pawn takes h6, right? That doesn't look great. So he was reluctant to take back on g5 because white would just hack it off and have a strong position. But he should have anyway. It was still your best move. White has compensation for the exchange, but at least now you got the h file for your rook. You know, this may not be that bad. You're still going to sack the exchange for the knight on e4. So, what's going on? The engine says that I would play queen c7. The engine says queen b8 for some reason. I guess I don't know why queen b8 versus queen c7, but queen b8 say c3, rook takes e4, and then Arsa's got the h file. Material is what? White is up a pawn. That's it. White is better, but black's still alive. But then a5, you kind of herky-jerky, crazy moved. And then bishop b6. Ugh. Not Arsenal's best tactical game. Usually he's much sharper. Queen a8. Natural move, but there's all kinds of problems now. It's lost. d6, a5. Arsenal collapsed here. Yeah. I assume it's just over. All right, interesting game, guys. There's a lot of stuff there. I've got another game from our director. Now that may not be as high quality. 3-0. Let's see. All right, analysis board, copy, our director. Don't forget to donate. Thank you, guys, and subscribe if you. By the way, did XL Poker leave? Oh, here he is. Okay, he was there. He said, "Shit, bishop on f8 now." Well, of course, and that's connected to g5, and yeah, that was a great game. I found it very interesting. Richie Smith. Now we get to redeem Richie Smith. Arsenal. Redemption. Alright, so this is now Arsenal fan is white against Richard Simmons. No, this is Richard Simons. Poor Richard Simmons. Alright. Martin Simons. No, Simmons, Simons. We're white now. And black play knight c6. Ooh, good. Interesting. Now the Morales defense. Now, obviously, theoretically, the best move is d4. And knight f3 is fine. But if knight f3, black has more options, like d5. That's a really crazy statistic right there. You guys see that? Bro, this has to be like a transpositional thing. There's no way that white plays knight f3 3 times as much as d4 here. Do you guys believe that? I mean, what kind of database is this? I don't believe that. I do not believe that white plays knight f3 3 times as much as d4. That's incredible. That's incredible. That's impossible. I know, but the statistics, I don't believe it's 3-1. I would accept that it was maybe 1-1. Lead chess, it's even closer on lead chess than over the board. I would think the opposite would be true. I would honestly think that the opposite would be true. Like, more people who are like online players would tend to play knight f3, but over the board players would play the more testing, like d4. But I just want to know if the database sees these like transpositions and stuff. Anyway, all right. So you play d4, critical test, and then of course, best move for black here is d5. e5 is also good, I guess, to an extent. And d6 is kind of dubious, but I played it myself quite a bit. So anyway, black plays d5, main line. And now the only real alternative for white here is the curious, what I like to refer to as the curious variation. Because I learned this from studying Kira's complete games. Knight c3, and then also playing in Spassky Portish. Knight c3, d takes c4, d5, but there's a problem here. And the problem is black has knight b8, and this move is actually maybe even as good as or better than knight e5. So, whatever. e5 is theoretically the best move, but if you don't like closed positions, let's say you're an e4 player who doesn't play the advanced Caro-Kann, you know. Imagine in Kyrgios's day, the game that I played over with Kyrgios was like, I don't know, from the 40s or 50s. And Paul Kyrgios plays knight c3. I mean, he was the player who liked tactics and open positions. I can understand that, you know. There's also pawn takes pawn, but I think this move is maybe just not as good, you know. Lets black get away with something. So e5, best. And now bishop f5. And now the one move that I find interesting here, in addition to bishop f5, it's the Chigorin without c. It's the Nimzovich defense. The other move that's interesting is f6. And I remember I had a student who liked to play this years ago. A kid became a master, but I don't know that there's anything necessarily wrong with f6. It's just that bishop f5 seems more principled. Playing f6 on move 3, you know. So now c3 main line, and f6 is still, it's still a move. But I guess all of the above are played. e6, queen d7, and f6. If black had time, I imagine that black would even consider moves like a6, for example, like prophylactically taking control of b5. But I don't know that black has time for that. Ultimately, he's black, and he's behind in terms of development. Well, I mean, in terms of time. Anyway, white has this huge space. Not in terms of development, but anyway, you can't really take the time. I mean, I would consider a6. How bad is it? It's the third best move. The engine actually likes it better than queen d7. I've played this before, you know. I don't think that a6 is so bad. Anyways, alright. On the other hand, is it necessary? Because, I mean, even if the bishop goes to b5, does white really want to trade off their white square bishop with all these white square weaknesses? Alright, queen d7. And now knight d2. So Arsenal finds the most common move here. Most people tend to play like f4, completing the cubicle. Minority attack ideas. Well, this is not a minority. There is no minority and majority really here. I like a minority attack. Don't worry, we both have 8 pawn islands. No one's in the minority here. We're all equal. So I don't know the theory of this for white. I never liked playing it because it felt like easy to overextend. Looks like you have a lot of options. I mean, obviously it's possible to play f4 and go whole hog. Hogger. Whole hogger. George Moore. Arsenal with 92 though. There's a little bit of a sneaky idea here with this. Going over there. Borrowing a Caro Khan theme. Agard versus Sloth. Sloth is a sin. Alright, so f6, number 1 move. f4. And do I ever have any games here? No. I play the Nimzovich sometimes. So at this point, Black played Knight h6 in most games. e6 is obviously very fundamental. The bishop on f8 will cover the c5 square in case you try knight b3. I mean, the thing is, like, if white goes here, like in an advanced Caro Khan, I mean, black has the option to play a6. I mean, sorry, b6, but that's not really the kind of move you want to make unless you have to. So e6, very like normal move. And now, what do? No one played knight b3. You gotta watch out for g5. I mean, black could go pretty psycho here. Peak Drazic in 1998, rated 25-15. White unable to win in all 3 games of this position was reached prior to Arsenal fan. Arsenal fan, you may be the first player ever to win in this position. Now knight on df3. Wow. So he faked him out with knight b3 ideas, then went the other way. You didn't win. This variation is unbeatable. Don't worry about it. This is cool though, because you're playing it like a French classical variation. No, that's sorry, a Tarash. Where the knight comes over here, and then the other knight goes to e2. But this keeps control of g5. You're keeping him honest. You know, you're not going to give him that break. The thing is, he does have very good control of e4. You're going to have to accept that now, that there's bishop on e4 for the rest of your fucking life. Black now plays a novelty. Other games, there was castles queenside, which is committal, and I like knight h6. I would play knight h6. This way, black keeps his options open. He doesn't interfere with his other pieces. He can still castle both sides. Wait and see what white's going to do. Knight f7, maybe, to support g5. So this move, to me, I mean, from my perspective, is less attractive. You know, there are these Caro Khan type ideas with, like, Jonathan Spielman. And obviously there's also more Caro Khan type ideas, like bishop g6 or bishop e4 and knight f5. So maybe knight e7 is fine. There's one game here. Butkevich? No. This is just a random guy. Okay. Some random guy in Poland had this position with black. Now bishop d3. Now we have to talk about this move. Auto mod held a message for review. Oh no. Racist content. Problem is, okay, you need place your pieces. I don't know what to do. Kozakowski 2400 played the same move as you. But let's just discuss the strategic side of this position. This move is a concession of sorts. You are trading your good bishop for his bad bishop. And that could be okay, right? But we have to be aware of the dynamic. I mean, probably it's the right decision, you know, but it's like conflicting principles. If it wasn't for the fact that you had a knight on g1 that wants to go to get out, you know, I would say I would play bishop e2. You know, if your knight on g1 was over on b1, I would definitely play bishop e2. But we need to consider other options. Maybe knight e2. I mean, why not knight e2? Yeah, exactly. Knight e2, knight g3. Now, I'm not sure it's great either. I guess if I were black, I would consider this here. And now, if you want to get really weird, black might consider playing f5, right? This looks crazy, but if you take this bishop, black does have a protected passed pawn. What is the evaluation? Very close. It's like equal, according to the engine. I mean, you also don't have to take. You know, you could wait and do something else. But so it's something to think about. Anyway, all right. I think you play this move and check out what the other dude did. Check out what Budrevich played. He went here anyway. Uh-huh. This is what happened in that game. White now unwilling to play bishop takes e4, though maybe he could. He played knight h3, and black opted not to go for f5, queen e2, and then f5, and then rook g1. And this is really a very weird position. Black ended up problems with f7. Very convoluted position. So in the game, bishop d3. I would think h5. That's what he played. The h5 is a bit more normal than what the guy did with bishop e4. But Arsenal fan goes knight h4. Very committal move. But I mean, the question with knight h4 is, like, can the guy do what the guy did in the other game? I guess you would just go knight f3 here. You don't have to do anything except pay taxes and die. You could actually go here even if you want to be really weird. You have those two knights there. It looks kind of funny, but it's better for white, I assume. Much better for white. So knight h4 isn't bad. He trades, you take back, and now black plays the weirdest move ever. a5? Whoa. Tell me you expected a5, because I didn't. a5. Arsenal, remember, controlled aggression. Don't go crazy. Knight h4 was creative. Just let them come to you. You know, don't go crazy. Don't do anything crazy. They'll beat themselves. Although this guy might be pretty strong. A5 is bizarre. first of all, you know, he's fixing his pawns on the wrong color. I expect you to play a4. You don't have to. I mean, maybe he's hoping to play a5, a4. I don't know exactly what he's doing. You're obviously better. You have to auto play a4. Well, I like a4 because you know your rook is activated and you have control of b5 and your pawn's on a light square. It makes your bishop, your bad bishop, potentially got access to a3. You can play b3, c4 later in space. Yeah, I would expect a4. Instead, you played this move, which is okay. And black plays f5. And now you're clearly better. But what else could he do? I don't think he had a great move there. I still like a4. You end up doing it a move later. Knight f3, knight d8. And so now you see, like, this is some sort of potential threat by black. So you played a4. Black plays queen c6. And now he has queen a6. This is a nice concept. Concept kitchen. Or maybe queen c4. So b3. I would say b3. But say he goes like queen c4 and you're not prepared and you have to take it and he takes, you have like b3, but your structure is going to be kind of weird after that. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm surprised you played this move. This seems very impulsive, and I think that's one of your weaknesses. Okay, yes, like last game was Arsenal's wife would agree. Sorry. It's also one of your superpowers. His impulsivity is Arsenal fan superpower. But, yeah, b3 is a steady move. And on queen a6, well, you honestly have lots of options. Like, if he plays queen a6, you might even be able to, like, avoid trading queens. But I don't think you have to, necessarily. Maybe you should, though. You know, you do have a lot more space. Yes! You're not a freak for suggesting king d2. You're also using some sort of superpowers. I just don't know, you know. I'm gonna say, like, don't trade queens. But, you know, okay, you would have an advantage in the endgame. You still are better in this endgame by a lot. So queen b5, kind of a impulsive move by Arsenal fan, but okay, maybe it's not so bad. Like, is it really a bad move? The guy takes. And does he have a4? This is a little scary, but you have b3. So it looks fine. The downside is that you traded queens. You're a good attacking player. And you traded queens against the guy. You're helping him. You know, the guy with less space. Not really your style, Arsenal fan, to trade queens. Now he takes with a knight. I don't know. I mean, black, like this looks ugly, but everything looks ugly. You're still slightly better. I guess this is right. He has b5. Like, this is where the realization dawns on you that you're like, fuck. I thought I was better, but I'm not really better. b3. And I think you could probably go nuts and lose the game very easily here if you try to do something insane. We really try to do something insane, right? What if we try to go crazy, for example? Is this totally crazy? I'm playing according to pawn structure. Okay, I think it's too slow, Pilly. But I'm curious about this kind of thing. Yeah, the engine doesn't believe in it. So, I think the reality is that we're not really much better at all. And we have to, like, now we have to realize that we're not better. We have to be careful. But I think B3 still. Yeah, he has a possible outside pawn. Do we have anything like knight C1, knight D3? Castle's kingside. I am afraid he's going to fix this structure on us. Well, obviously you have B3. You can't stop it with his rook undefended on A8. And that's what happened. Alright. This is what Curto used to do. A legendary New England player, he would always hold his finger like here when he was thinking. Like a finger mustache. You're not farming any rating points here. Shit, bro. That knight... Oh my god, he has knight A5. So what do we do now? Sack the exchange? Jesus. You have rook B1. What? Oh my god. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. So we didn't see the danger till it was too late. Crafty little bugger. You were too late constructing this white square control. B3 should have been played like 6 moves ago. Okay, you thought you had it, and I thought you had it too. But it turns out you didn't. He was very astute. He has a stupid trick based on B2. Oh my god. So now it's like total nightmare scenario. Do we have any outs? I want to sack the exchange, but it just doesn't seem to work at all. Fuck. A5? We have a miracle? No, we're gonna be lost, dude. You're gonna be lost here. So you lost an outside pawn. Oh my god. Rook A2. And now all hands on deck. This is the Titanic and it's going down. Can you put up any resistance? Yes. You actually found a way to put up a little bit of resistance. Knight C1, knight takes D2, knight takes D2, king C6. But what we need is like rook here. He can defend that. Man. Fuck. You're gonna have to like poison the guy or something. I don't know. This looks really, really bad. Rook A5? Do you think he was concerned about C4? Rook A5 is a little awkward. Check. And you construct a blockade. Dude, he has G5 too. He can get you on the other side. Wow. Yeah, I mean, king b6, who would have expected that? But he doesn't have a choice, huh? If he takes, all kinds of bad stuff happens on the file. If he plays king d7, you just repeat position. Go back. Wow. Is it possible you're okay here? And you played c4. Holy shit. I'll play it if you can. A3, c5 check. Dude, are you serious? And now you played knight c2, but why? I like your knight on b4. Why did you move your knight off of b4? But I mean, oh, you think you can stop it? You can stop him? Well, I'm concerned about the other side, you know. But I mean, objectively, I'm not sure rook a4, even if he gets it in, is like some devastating move. Let's say black plays a random move here. Well, let's say you play rook b3, okay? And then he goes there. Well, he's not really threatening anything. I was just thinking like maybe this doesn't hurt us. You still have this move. You know, and you'd be triple attacking a3. He doesn't have anywhere to go. Now the best, oh yeah, the best he could do is like g5. Well, g5 is going to be scary, but I think you can probably navigate that. So I wonder if you have a chance to survive here. Rook b3 or knight c2. It's close. All right. It probably doesn't matter that much. Knight c2, and now knight d8. So he's immediately attracted to that. We gonna get your pawn back or no? No, fuck. Now king f2. Well, what would have happened if you played rook b3? Does he still have knight d8? He still has knight d8. He's gonna do it anyway. Okay. So it probably doesn't matter. Alright, here, here. Now king f2. I still like rook b3. And now he plays b4. b4 is a weird move, though. b4 is a weird move. I mean, I don't know why he's committing to that. Oh, you mean he just has to defend his pawn? But you're not really threatening to take the pawn, are you? I mean, you can't drop d4. He doesn't have to play b4 right away. You did this. Oh my gosh. Whoa. So this is like a ridiculous blunder? Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure you're even lost. I'm fighting the bitter end here. What is it, half a pawn? Apparently you're lost now. So king f2 was a huge mistake, but okay, what's the plan? After rook b3, he plays knight c6. Now what do we do? King f2 is slow. So you have knight f3, fuck. And that stops g5. It also defends d4, so you can snap his pawn. You may be holding on. This move is slow, although it's very natural. Now if you play knight f3, he has time for whatever, like rook a4. Oh, this is weird. Bishop takes, h takes. So you just resigned here? Yeah. The 1500 offer to draw on Arsenal accepted. You're serious? You resign. What rating would accept a draw here, I wonder? If he was 1300, he would take a draw. Come on. You guys want to guess the elo of black? Ah, you gave it away. Yeah, that could be a good psychological weapon against you. Alright. We got 3 more games to do. Pili versus Sung Prism. Oh no, another close game. This is from our weekly tournaments. $420 plus 5. Sorry? $420. Yeah, I'm gonna always offer a draw to Arsenal fan. He'll just take him. What's 420? Let's see. 6 times 5. 6 times 7. 7 plus 5. Right, it's 7 plus 5. This is from our weekly tournament. God, I'm good at math. Now, black really should, theoretically, I think, keep the tension with a6, which is the modern line. Now, in the old days, black used to play what? Yeah, Queen b6 was all the rage back in the 80s and early 90s. So c takes d4. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of... It seems wrong to release the tension so early, but whatever. It's a line. And now queen b6. Okay, so this is a poison pawn type line. White can bail with a3. I just short. Did that like years ago. You know, this is a way of avoiding having to play this poison pawn thing, because you have knight a4 winning the queen. So you can do that, but then bishop c5, knight a4, queen a5 check, c3, bishop takes d4, bishop takes d4. So this is Ivanchuk game from 2005. That was in the chess informant years ago. Knight d4, queen d4, etc. Alright, so queen d2 is considered, I guess, the best. So we went over a game in my stream, move 11. I don't know, we went over a game in this variation before, a few months ago. And I know move 11 was talking about it. So there's this Naka game where there was okay. So Hikaru played a number of games here. The one against Topalov in 2011, where he lost, is actually really instructive. But I mean, I don't know where the theory stands here. Rook b1, queen a3, and now bishop e5. Knight takes d4, bishop takes d4, a6, bishop d7. But, there's rook b3. So this is the scary move. And now black has to play queen e7. And now white has this very interesting move, bishop a4. But there was something here. This is all well known. But Grishuk has a win in 2017. Queen d8. Bishop b6. So Hikaru went wrong by playing queen h4 check in that old game in 2011. It turns out that black is okay. Rook b3, queen e7, bishop a4, queen d8. Bishop b6. Queen h4 check. And now g3. This is crazy stuff, huh? Well, it's worth investigating anyway. Alright, so this isn't as interesting. White settles for like a slight edge. Bishop takes d7 check. And now bishop takes d7, rook b3, queen e7, rook takes b7. Queen h4 check is possible. Queen d8. Castles. Queen c8. Rook fb1. This is all theory. Bishop c5. God. What did you guys do? Like eat an encyclopedia of correspondence games? It's all correspondence games. f5. Okay. Yeah, so this is all been played. So Black Castle. I feel like I've seen this game already. Dude, maybe that's my point. I did see this game. When was this played? This is just now? No, this was from 429. So, okay, I saw this game before. That's why this is the game we saw before. Okay. Right. So this is the game that I looked at with Move 11. Yeah, this was played on our stream. And I think we talked about the game when it was happening. Yeah, so Sun Prism didn't know, he didn't know the line. He just castled, he gets mated. This is why, like, knowing theory isn't enough. You have to, like, know the position. But 1, 2, 3. Notice, this has been played in only 2, maybe 3 real games. Alexienko versus Johann Sebastian Christensen. That's an older game. And then Bernadsky has a game from 2024. And the other guys, I'm not sure about. They're all correspondence games. But this is Black's only move. He has to play knight b5 or bishop b5, and if you don't play it, then you lose. This is obviously very dangerous. You can't castle into f6. So I don't know how Pili knows all this theory, but they both did up until this point. And white plays f6 and it's over because of queen g4. It's just over. And resigns. But what's the reason why resigns? Let's make sure we understand, okay? Queen g5 resigns. Why can't black play king h8? Ah, because king h8, queen h6, rook g8, and rook takes f7. It's over. Wow, that was a computer-like game. But I think you just knew the line. Alright guys, I'm going to take a very short break, and we're going to come back with those two other games. Be right back. Sorry, guys. Brief break there. What is this? You don't think the win is that simple? In this position, no. Mate 5. Oh, but you have Queen C5 check, right? If black plays Queen C5 check, King H1, G6, Queen G5. You're talking about this? Yeah, it's not that simple. There looks like there's a very scary rook takes F7. Hello? Mr. Madam PC? Would you like to get mated? Are you crazy, man? Oh my god. Okay, I gotta take it. Then we go here. And are you having fun yet? That's the question. Black is still alive, but not having fun. Knight takes b5, rook a7. Knight takes b5, rook e7. Here. Here. Oh no. Oh no. Here. Oh no. But, wait. There's this. This doesn't look good, does it? Oh no. Yeah. It's winning. Okay, on to the next game. So, Caro-Conics. Caro-Conics. Caro-Conics playing the Caro-Conics. Because life is too short to play the Caro-Con, as I always say. The Ponda attack. Alright. So, we're played Caro-Con. E4, C6, D4, D5, Knight D2. And then, although, you know, I consider E5 to be the scariest, here it's not so bad. Takes, Knight takes E4, Knight F6. The modern Tarkova variation, right? Caro-Con defense main line. Yeah, I know that, but I mean, shouldn't this have a name? Yeah, Tarkova variation. C3. If it's C3, it's for me. Bishop D6. Bishop D3. Main line, main line. Castles. Queen C2. Everybody plays this. Rook E8 check. Yeah, but okay. Rook E8 check is a lot to do with this. And now, there are some obscure games with Bishop E3. And so now, you know, in the old days, this variation was known, but everyone played like G6. G6 was, for millions of years, the established main line of this variation. And I guess H6 was known as well. A funny thing happened on the way. This is very trendy, by the way, you know, so as well prepared as you are, be aware that if you play strong players that are high rated with white, they're going to know their shit with white too. Having said that, look at the score. It's unbelievable. Black has a plus score in the main line with H5. There is a funny thing though. Was it Arsenal fan? You didn't submit a game where this happened? This is a thing? This pawn sacrifice with F5. That's really weird. I mean, it's not trending. It looks like it stopped trending a while ago. There's a game for 2025. 2025. The H5, H4 stuff, then white plays H3. Well, I don't know about that, but H5 is the main line. Now here, I like Rogelio Antonio had a game at the World Senior like 3 years ago where he crushed this Danish guy in a sharp position. It was like both sides or opposite side castle, so he played in a way with like bishop e3 and tries to castle queen side. I mean, this is obviously, you know, still black has a good score. You can see with bishop e 97, sorry. 97 queenside castles. Maybe even b5. What's the engine say? D5 white's a little better. D5 C5 Duda Carlson 2020. There's games from 2024. There's a Bosiocic game, from 2025. Another game, a 2100 playing Jeffrey Jiang. Can someone explain to me how that happens? Is that some online bullshit? Chess.com titled Tuesday games do not belong in the chess database, or any Blitz games do not belong in the chess database. It's chess.com for sure. I hate chess.com, and I hate their stupid Title Tuesday, and I hate the fact that those games get dumped into the general chess database, and I have to scroll through pages of this garbage, you know, when I'm like preparing for an opponent. I'm like, fuck, another 3 pages of stupid games from chess.com. I don't want to see that, you know. I want to see like real games. So anyway, that's a sharper way for white to play. What your opponent did here now appears to be, however, the main line, castles. And now Pili, who's a theoretical expert, talking about H4, H3. When I first started studying chess, I remember thinking about the fact that this variation was never very popular for black because, you know, when you trade off all the pieces, black has a lost king and pawn in game. It's like the exchange Roy Lopez, you know, and it was never a popular line. I think that it's you know, it will fade in terms of popularity, but it's still easy to play, easy to learn, popular with like courses. But is it necessarily the best line of the Caro-Kann? I don't know that it's objectively better than like bishop f5, but it's more formulaic and easier to play. But this h5, h4 changed everything. It's the best chance for black. Now h4, and then white doesn't want to get disrupted, so okay, h3. Doesn't want his kingside disrupted, apparently. By the way, there's always these tactics. You know, you can easily, like, people tend to fall into tactics here. What's the deal with this? This is good for white. Look at this. 2400 lost. Queen takes, bishop takes, queen e4. g5, queen h7. This is crazy, you know. Gotta be careful about these tactics. So even bishop f4 is okay. That move, trading the dark square bishops favors white strategically. So now you're supposed to play knight a6. So here we see Paravia and Gukesh. David Navarro winning with black. I mean, how do you win with black? How do you win with black here? Draw. Draw is probably normal. Alright. H4, H3, main line. Knight D7. This is not your only move. You can see there's some games with knight A6, but the white squares compensate for black structure, I would guess. Knight D7 is the normal move. This is also possible, but this is normal. Knight D7, developing, and now bishop D2 or bishop E3. Bishop E3, knight F8, and wow, there's a million games. All right, no, there's like 162 games. So C4 is okay. White's got this queenside majority, right? So he wants to use it, but it's not the end game. Knight is now defending H7. So the tactics are like bishop F4, rook takes E2. Black wins. There's no bishop F4. White played C4 now. Black has a very good score against this move. I had some simul games, you know, against I don't remember who, where I was white and I didn't really know the line very well, and I ended up drifting into kind of difficult positions. It's still hard to believe that black can possibly be better if he can't use his kingside pawns. But it's shocking to look at the opening explorer and see black's score is like lots of wins, you know. To be fair, I mean, I think you'll find that most of those wins are like the stronger player winning with black. Most cases. Saruk versus Tari, 300 rating point, you know, difference. He's probably going to beat him in any position. But here, well, obviously black doesn't have c5, doesn't need c5. The question is, what do we do? Bishop d7, uninspiring move. Can you don't want to weaken your king side. So bishop e6 is the main move now. Followed up with g5. Yeah, well, I mean, I was thinking about this. Obviously not yet. But that's going to get, you know, sharp for both sides. So c4, and now bishop b8 has been played by Gukesh and some other strong players. This rook is not happy. But what's the difference between bishop c7 and bishop b8? You know, you want to put the queen on c7? Bishop c7 has been played by good players as well. This rook is not really getting in the game unless we play a5. But notice that black has no losses with this move. 7 games. No losses. Now white played queen d2. And he's angling for like bishop f4. Or I mean maybe knight f4. But white does not develop the rooks. Now queen d6. And this was played just once. Queen d6. Queen d6, rook takes e2. Queen d6, bishop f4, rook takes e2 again. Queen d6, knight f4, g5. There's also a game with queen c7. And one game with knight g6, which was Gukesh actually. That is funny, all the black pieces on the back row. Yeah, very aesthetic. So knight g6. Well, knight g6 like threatens to play queen d6 or whatever. The thing is with knight g6, you know, this knight could come back and bounce back to e7 and into f5. Yeah. Well, Arsenal's talking about knight e6. Knight e6 is interesting if you want to go queen e6. Yeah, but well, so is this, you know. And so is this. And your point is knight e6. But where are you going with the knight exactly? I mean, you could... I think it's more concrete, you know, to go knight g6, knight e7, knight f5. To stop what? Stop bishop f4. Oh, yeah. You can do that. So here's... I didn't see this was a 2200. A 2200 playing white. Drew with Matlikov. I guess in Mordor somewhere. Assuming that Matlikov is in Mordor, let's see. View game. Following game was played, yes, in Sochi. Sochi, Mordor, 2025. Queen d6, threatening mate in 1. White now plays f4, and Matlikov couldn't beat a 2200 with f5 now. But I am a little bit surprised by f5 by black. I mean, surely it's not bad. But it's also a bit inflexible. So I keep thinking back to what I was saying a minute ago about that. You know, how is white going to deal with knight g6, knight e7, knight f5? You play rook takes e3 in blitz. No way, man. No way. The rook's just a better piece than that bishop on e3. There's no way. The fact that you can play it and you still have fun shows, you know, that black's position is objectively better, but no, I think you're being impatient, you know. I like 97. What does white do about it? Is there a problem with like bishop f2? Maybe there's a concrete problem here. We have a problem with bishop f2? Seriously? That's so stupid. But, you know, would that really work? Now we're almost sacking with rook takes e2, right? This is getting awfully close to working. Jeez, there's this check down here. Bishop takes e2, knight takes f4. Oh, that's sick, you know. And this is like the best line ever. That's the best line ever, right? Mate. But so let's check with the Magic Oracle. So Malikov's move is best. So the problem with my plan, Malikov's move was best, but still, very disturbing he was unable to beat a 2200. Arsenal's exchange sack, I'm not thinking that's going to make Doesn't make the list. They're not rolling that out on the red carpet anytime soon. But knight g6 has a problem. Well, nothing clear. Knight g6, rook f3. So it turns out f5 is best. But still, it's very blocked, and the strong grandmaster was unable to beat a 2200. That's kind of annoying. Which makes me think that probably here we need to improve. Though you can't win by black by force. Alright, whatever. So you played queen d6, he plays f4, you didn't play f5, you played b5. This is a new move. What's the idea? Not a new idea, but a new move in this specific position. What's your idea, just long term? Tighty whitey. We're just offering a pawn in good faith that said pawn will bring results. There's no concrete refutation of this, right? LPDO. And white has to strongly consider not taking this pawn, for sure. And honestly, the most sensible move in the world is like b3 for white. I'm going to play b3 in like 99 out of 100 cases because I don't want to get my face ripped off, and it's a safe move, you know? The other move, though, this is also possible. You took c5. You took 45 minutes to play it. b5. Right. No, I mean, white has to be careful. I mean, I'm surprised white would take the pawn. That's very greedy. But if he calculated it, if he has time, this is also a move. You know, obviously, white gains some space at the cost of losing d5. A horrible weakness on d5. I don't love it. So that's why I would play b3. Maybe white doesn't have to do anything, but he's going to lose control of d5 if he doesn't play b3. This way we can take with the pawn. I mean, that's normal. I assume. So he takes the pawn. Now, moment, you don't have to recapture. You could play bishop b7. Well, you could play anything, but I mean, I think the only other move that really makes sense is bishop b7, but taking this way leaves his bishop in an undefended position. The problem is, what's your move here? You don't have a great move. There's no tactics. You're banking on practical considerations. But, you know, you're going to lose to a computer because the computer took the pawn, and it's going to defend perfectly. And it's going to defend its awkward pieces. It's going to use its 2-on-1 majority to beat you in the end game or whatever. But I think this pawn sacrifice is reasonable in a human scenario. I just don't know what to play. You know, I don't know. I don't see a really good move for your rook. Rook d8. Do we abandon the e-file? Well, you put the rook on e7. That's what you did. The e-file looks good. But, you know, this is also a consideration. I mean, I think you even have to consider bishop d7. I mean, you probably have some compensation here, right? Half a pawn. But that wasn't really the plan. Now white apparently didn't like you getting a lock on d5. So he goes d5 himself. Not the safest move. It kills your knight on f8 to some degree. The knight on f8 is not happy here. Jeez. I mean, you have bishop c7, bishop b6 type ideas, but now he's threatening bishop c6 as well, so you need to do this first. If nothing else, to stop him from playing bishop c6. And now the computer's like bishop c4 was best. White has to deal with the threat of like taking on d5 because his e3 bishop might fall. You're kind of threatening to take this pawn with a queen or bishop. He could play, for example, a rook to d1. I mean, White, I think, has to be careful. You know, he doesn't want to get overconfident. I mean, even this move has to be considered. That drops a piece. It's easy to say, okay, the engine says this, that's about move. I want to understand White's motivation to play the following move, which is supposed to be a mistake, is very natural. His knight was congesting his whole position. He plays this. Now you're going to sack the exchange and do like bishop c7, but it doesn't work. Okay, his move looks reasonable. It's hard to say that this is concretely a mistake. Double question mark? If you don't have a forced win, I don't think that knight c3 should get a double question mark. Maybe one question mark. Losing move. It's a losing move. Well, that is a double question mark. Why is it a losing move, though? I don't see. Oh, because of a6. Oh, my God. Yeah. Wow. LPDO. Yeah, even I didn't get it till now. And you have rook takes e3 and bishop a7. Wow. I mean, I wouldn't have played bishop takes b5, but if he's going to play like that, this is amazing, though. He made it happen. He did all the things that were necessary to lose the game. Take the pawn, then play d5, opening up this diagonal, and giving you the shot rook takes e3 in combination with a6 and bishop a7. Oh my God. So at this point he's like, oh shit, I fucked up. I'm sorry, sir. That's going to cost you a whole piece. Wow. Dude, that's a whole piece, isn't it? Does he have knight a4? Wait, knight a4. Pawn takes b5. That can't possibly work, can it? Rook takes e3. Okay. Yeah, I'm losing my mind. Well, okay, he takes. Queen a7. Jesus. Alright. Yeah, that doesn't work. So his only move is apparently this bishop c6, which he didn't find. Bishop c6. You can't play rook takes e3 because the bishop takes b7. So you have to take, and then he takes back, and now your queen is protected by your bishop. So you just win a piece anyway. Game over. He played bishop b2, rook takes e3, also a game over. He has to lose a whole piece in all variations. Oof. Yeah, no, I mean, he's got, what? A pawn for a piece? That's not gonna fly. That's not gonna fly. Now he has no pawns for a piece. Yeah, I mean... Bear with me for a second now. You got queen takes b7. Oh, there's some Swedish German here. Queen takes b7. What's your threat? By the way, like, do you have to play a fancy move here? You could have just traded queens. You can obviously just trade queens. He has a passed pawn, but it's not enough. So you did this instead. And what am I missing? I've done a lot of puzzles lately. I don't know why. I was 1 for 1 on puzzles today. But I'm not seeing it. This guy is psyched to take that, by the way. I am so taking that bishop. And now knight e2. Wow. Now I was expecting something really insane, like rook takes h3 check or something. That's not enough. Yeah, this is crazy. A crazy line to find, to be honest. Why did you really had to do this? Like, it's the best move. If you trade queens. I would have just traded queens, you know. Okay, your knight is dancing out there on f4, but you're totally winning. This is wild. You give him a piece back. And obviously you have strong attack, but I mean, that's kind of crazy. Here, here, here. And the guy is back to equal material. Queen's out of play, obviously. He has queen back to b3. And you have rook e3. That's a brazen decision to give him the whole piece back. You're threatening rook takes g2. Okay. That's cute. You're threatening rook takes g2 on the move now. So in order to defend against that, he has to be quite careful. Queen b3, rook takes g2, does that work? There's a really sweet line there. Queen b3, rook takes g2, king takes g2, rook e2 check, king f3. Rook e3 check, queen takes e3, queen g3 check, and then he gets mated. This line. That, and then that, which is really mean. And then he takes here, and you have this, and now he's mated, right? Either way. This is like sort of sadistic, the way you gave him the piece back. And you got a back ranker. I didn't even consider this. So you got him on the back rank. Queen f4, very elegant. I would imagine that it's not your only winning move, but I'm not sure. You know, maybe the conventional. Is this your only winning move? No. Conventional moves win too. Queen f4, rook e1. A lot of moves win there. Very elegant. That's the Brilliancy Prize. Brilliancy Prize game. Playing for the crowd. He's playing for the crowd. Showering the board with gold coins. Cheer your way to the top. Alright. Really nice game. The Umbreon of chess had followed 2 hours ago. I didn't announce him. What's that? Very high quality. Check out if he takes the queen. Say again? Oh. If he takes the queen? What, are you kidding me? Here? King H2. Yeah, we just assumed it, right? Here. And then King H1. And now Bishop F2 or Bishop E3? He'll have that sack on G3, so maybe I want to do it this way. You know, so King H2, Bishop takes F4. And then when you go here, you have this mate, right? I mean, I'm sure there's more than one way to skin Mr. Coffee's cat. But anyway, yeah, very crushing victory. But I think the moral of the story, like, for white is not to be greedy. On B5, I'm playing B3. The engine actually likes C5. Apparently this is like the positional refutation. Not easy to commit to that, though. I would have chickened out and played this safe move with white. Chess... Do you like pancakes? It's chess griddle. Alright. And then we've got Iatan versus Vanish. The moral is to play the advance. Panov. I played the Panov. Or something even more lame. The F3. Play the fantasy variation. Don't play the main line. Alright, this is a game from Iatan. No Grandmaster this time. What's the time control? What is this? Is this information on this game? Whoa. Sorry. Hi, could you analyze this game? Rapid. What are these ratings? Alright. Wasn't he like much higher rated? Oh, it's Evil Chess Site. Dude, it's like 9:30 here and I feel like it's getting hotter. Dude, in France, did you see the French Open? Yannick Sinner, like, melted down. He literally melted down and lost 2 sets up because they have like a brutal heat wave. Unbelievable upset in the French Open. I just can't wait till that weather moves here. It's hot enough already. It's like May. Heat wave in the French Open in May. Bro, that's terrible. WorldChess.com? Oh no, I thought it was chess.com. World, even better, WorldChess.com. Sponsored by Russian oligarchs. Alright, never played there, never will. Anyway, we're playing white. D4, D5, C4, E6, Knight C3, Knight F6, and then FIDE over the board is bad enough. I'm not going to play on their website. I never would have. Anyway, Knight F6, C takes D. It's an exchange variation. Bishop G5, and now Black played the very strange Knight to C6. It makes you ask the question, can I take on D5? Yeah. Alright, so speaking of the Riddler, this is some kind of crazy shit, man. Knight C6, hoping for bishop takes F6. Let's take a look. I'm turning the opening explorer off, alright? This to me looks like black is hoping for bishop takes f6 when this is compromised. Black has a very compromised structure. Queen takes, though. Knight takes d5. And now, my concern is that maybe this isn't so bad for black. Is it possible that this is actually okay for black? It's like a kind of trap. I'm not sure. Yeah. Queen e6. Okay, thanks for sharing that. So, I want to understand. Queen takes d4. Knight takes c7 check. King d8. Queen takes d4. Knight takes d4. Can anyone assure me of what's going on here? Now, I'm just saying, like, I don't know anything. Somebody help me out here. I don't know. I don't think I have to take this pawn. You know, this looks greedy to me. Castle first, brah. Castle first, brah. Castle first when? So should I trade in castle and not take on c7? Then he has 96. When do you want me to castle? I just am not sure, you know. If I was white, I would probably just not take the pawn, you know. I probably had this position at some point and just, you know, did whatever. Knight f3, yeah. No, after knight c7. Bro, but I mean, okay. Knight c7 check, king d8. I don't understand. Where do you want me to castle? You want me to castle here? You want me to castle here? After takes castles? What is this? This? It's not that clear. I mean, you got your computer fired up, I guess. But I mean, looks like black has compensation. There's also bishop e4 in some positions. So I think it's interesting, you know. I just want to check statistics here. Like a trap. Bad move, this is sort of trap. Lee chess database. E3 number 1 move. Knight f3 number 2 move. Not in necessarily like order of how good they are, but in how often they were played. E3 was played the most. Knight f3 was played second most. And now the acid test, bishop takes f6. No games over the board. And again, the acid test, queen takes f6. And now, you know, you have to take the pawn, otherwise you have nothing or very little. So this is a critical test. Yeah, and now most people play queen d6, which I wondered about, actually. Dude, there's bishop e4 check. How does that work? I mean, obviously it's a move, right? But this is bullshit, right? This is bullshit. Okay, that's bullshit. So either you play queen takes d4 or you play queen to d6. If queen takes d4, this is what we're looking at. There's 1.7 thousand games with queen takes d4. Knight takes d4. And now queenside castles, and this is what... Oh, this way. And then knight e6. What's the big deal? So you have to take on c7 check. This is what we just looked at. Most people play king d7. Why would you play king d7 blocking your own bishop rather than king d8? So check this out. This is crazy, bro. This is an undiscovered territory. It's like Star Trek, the movie. The undiscovered country. This guy's a genius. It's like some kind of crazy Tarash Blobix thing. So there's a secret move. Knight takes, knight t7 check, king d8, and rook c1. And only rook c1. Yeah, I'm not finding that unless I'm very lucky. And white's advantage is still very small after rook c1. So the moral of the story is that it's not clear. Knight c6 is a bad move strategically. And it's never been played in an over-the-board game. That's unbelievable. It's almost worth playing it, you know. In Blitz, definitely. So, it's also kind of like a possible Rogozin transposition. It seems like in some lines. Yeah, so let's see what you did. E3. Black should probably play... I'm going to guess black should play bishop b4. This is a move, but it's kind of passive. I would think this would be the better option. Basically playing a kind of Chigorin. Chigorin Nimzo. Not a great one maybe, but... I mean, is it any better to play knight f3? Black can still play bishop b4. So this move we're actually happy to see because that bishop is amputated octopus, as I like to call them. No more bishop d7 ever, so we could even pin him with bishop b5 and play kind of positionally. Your bishop could go like b5 and even retreat back in some lines. Nevertheless, that's not necessary. And then here you played bishop d3, which may be a good move, because this way you have the option to go with either square with your knight on g1. We have this. This is kind of optimal. The optimal setup would be putting pressure on d5. H6 looks okay. He wants you to take, but if you take, do you have anything? You know, if queen b3, he just castles queenside and black has a good game. So we don't want to take. Bishop h4. Now you don't have knight e2, knight f4 because he'll fork you. Black now played bishop e7. But I don't know about bishop e7. I don't know if he has anything else. g5 looks horrible. Queen e7, anyone? Pretend it's the Albin. Chess Riddler maybe goes for this. We can pretend it's the Albin. Right. Yeah, you could still put your knight at f4 in some lines. But now, no, this looks kind of dumb. It looks like just a stupid Queen's Gambit declined. So your point is that you have this. Now black makes an absurd move. A6 is a move that might have been played in some cases, but not now. You know, why do you play A6 now? It's like beyond any reason. It's like you're Michael Basman or something, and you're obsessed with playing A6 and H6. This guy's just a real beginner at this point. Every pawn move you make weakens your position in the long run. When you play a6, it's like, okay, it's a temporary fix, but he's going to weaken b6 later. If he wants to play c6 later, he's going to have a huge hold on b6. So it's not an all upside. Now, your comment about this earlier makes some sense. However, we're not really threatening anything. He would probably just castle, so. You played a3, which I don't love. But okay, it feels like a normal-ish move. I would rather play rook c1. You do the acerbate maneuver here. Or castle, obviously. Now, by the way, if you castle, can he go crazy with this type of crap? You know, this looks very weakening. What you would take with a knight, possibly take with a knight on g3. Yeah, well, no, man at bc, like saying rook b1. Yeah. So, if you think about the position in terms of pawn structure, white has two plans, right? In the Queen's Gambit exchange variation, you have your e4, you have your whole life, and you have your life plus. So you have f3 and e4, or you have rook b1 and a minority attack with b4. Yeah, okay, even g5 and h5, Pichu. What's up? Somebody donate a gift sub to Pichu. Can we get a gift sub? We need more subscribers. a5, a3. He's a good guy. The problem with a3 is like this could happen. I don't really want to see this happen. You know, where he gets like an outpost on c4. So obviously a3 reduces our flexibility a bit, but can he do that? Sorry. a3, knight a5. Well, I mean, okay, let's say like this. It's complicated. You have a very strong center. You know, that might be good for white. Engine, no, this doesn't work tactically, okay. So it looks like, wow. Knight a5 is playable, but it's not the best. a3 is not so bad. It's funny, the computer does want to play knight f4. You know, but okay, he's frozen. He can't move the bishop away. g5 destroys his position. You just take here, as you were saying. You're just going to get his bishop. Yeah, this is good. This is probably good. Settle for a slight advantage. a3 is okay. Queen e7. This is a very standard type of amateur playing black here. He doesn't know any opening theory. He's just playing random stuff. Castles, rook c1, rook d8, and bishop b1. But you don't have a pawn structure plan. This is obviously good. You can tie him down to that weak pawn on c7. Also maybe bishop g3. The knight on c6 has nowhere to go. Normally in the Chigorin, in the Ragozin, it can go back to e7. It can go back to d8. That's already like bishop on e6. Or it can go to like, or if you're Richard Rockport, you can go to a7. He's going to have to go with the Rockport plan here, it looks like, right? This is about the only plan he has. Well, okay, knight a5, knight c4, or knight a7, knight c8, knight d6. He needs to get the knight off of c6 so he's not backward along the c file. But as I was saying earlier, the more pawn moves you make, the more weaknesses you create, and stuff like knight a4, knight c5 is going to be very unpleasant. Am I the only guy who's ever shown losses? Yes. Yes. You are. Astrobate, certainly not. Bishop f5. So he trades off. This is a practical move. He tries to trade off his light square bishop. You need to consider bishop a2. In addition, I think you also need to consider taking on f6. That, however, has a drawback. Yeah, if you take on f6, he's going to have this knight back to e7. You have to calculate, there are some tactics like knight d5, but it's not working. Okay, so you probably should play bishop a2. Thanks, Arsenal fan. I'll be back tomorrow with some blitz games if you're around. Tomorrow around 1 p.m. 1 to 3 p.m. Generally, we aim to stream Central European summertime. Bishop f5. So you're trading your good bishop for his bad bishop. I think that's good for black. Unless you have something here concrete, and you don't seem to. I think this is a mistake. You keep him tied down to d5. Black has a very difficult game. What is he going to do? Man, if you see, I'll see you later. This is our last game, guys. Bishop a2 looks very strong to me. Just no good way to really solve his knight on c6 and the pawn on d5. I don't see anything better than black, like going back and then you have knight f4. What is he going to do here? You had him and you trade bishops. I think this is a mistake. And now your advantage is not so convincing. I would say almost non-existent. You have a tiny advantage, if you have any advantage at all now. A little bit of a chance on the c file, maybe knight a4. He even has knight e4. It looks like you gave away most of your edge. Here, exactly. Maybe this isn't good enough for him though. So you have a very small edge. He has to solve his c7 weakness. So can he play knight e8? I know it's horrible. The plan is to defend c7 so that on knight c5 he can play knight d8. Oh my god. Maybe the guy's okay here. +1 for white because your central pawns are a little stronger. But that's probably his best shot, for real. This walks into f3 type stuff. You played very safe. Yeah, maybe you're right. I mean, I think that you probably have a way to play more aggressively here, but this keeps it simple. Take slight advantage, and now black has a real concrete problem. Maybe he can solve it with some sort of Arsenal fan tactics. Probably not. How does he solve the problem of this pawn on c7 and his knight being tied down, and now you triple on the c file? He missed his last chance. But this is like the end. That's where it falls apart now. Very easy now. Very easy to win. We just send our little navy to the bottom of the ocean, play with our battleships in the bathtub. No, this is very easy. b6, and then the cute move queen c2. And that worsens his pawn structure, but he had to. Oh, right. Can't get out of the pin. Knight f4. He has a shot with knight takes d4. You have... Well, he has to try it. Right? Jeez, he might have a almost sort of kind of hope here after knight takes d4. I mean, it's still bad. Rook takes, check, king, a g8. You're winning if you're careful, but you have to be very careful. But he should at least try it. That looks like his best chance. This doesn't help. This is totally lost. So his literally last chance is this. It's all about pawn structure. Now you have like a situation where black has no counterplay at all. A Capablanca like pawn on d4, bring the king in the center, game over. No counterplay. The other way he had some counterplay. I'm not sure if you should play b4 there. I'm not sure if that helped you at all, but this is, speaking of Capablanca, there was a famous game he won against I don't remember, but it was a very tactical player and a protected pass pawn here. Reminds me of that rooking game. In the most instructive chess games I've ever played, Capablanca, someone whose name started with a B, I think. This is over. Yeah, perfect game. Perfect game. All right, thanks guys for joining me. Good game. I'll be back tomorrow with Blitz challenges between around 1 and 3 p.m. I'll see y'all then. Don't forget to give some subs, subscribe. Not against Tartakover, no. It was an exchange. Roy Lopez and Capablanca was white. You're thinking of another game. That was a Dutch. This was Capablanca versus it was a counterpuncher. Maybe it wasn't a B guy. Capablanca beat Tartakover in the beautiful endgame in the Dutch, but this was a white side of a Roy Lopez exchange variation. I just can't recall the name now. A strong player with black. I'll see you guys later. Have a good one. Bye. 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 Bye.